Welcome to Kiran Study Hub. Please subscribe to my channel in the YouTube. Hello students, let us continue the chapter The Impact of British Rule in India. In this video, let us study about the various acts brought by the British during the British rule in India. The East India Company was granted Diwani rights by the Mughal Emperor in the year 1765. The officials of the East India Company misused the Diwani rights and became rich. Edmund Burke, a member of British Parliament, criticized the corruption in the East India Company, and also he criticized the tax payment received by the British government from the company as criminal tax. He also criticized British government for staying silent over the corruption issues of the company officials, and many in England feared that the rich company officials may upset the very political setup of England. Hence, to control the East India Company, Regulating Act of 1773 was brought. A Regulating Act of 1773. Before the implementation of this act, there were three presidencies under British rule. They were which were Bengal, Madras, and Bombay Presidency. All the three presidencies were acting independently. But under Regulating Act, the Bengal Presidency gained control over other two presidencies. Second, the Governor of Bengal was renamed as Governor General of Bengal. The third, the Governor General of Bengal was authorized to direct, exercise control and to supervise over other two presidencies. Next, the Bombay and Madras presidencies could not declare war on anyone or enter into a peace agreement without the prior approval of Governor General of Bengal and Board of Directors of the company. But only during emergencies they are entitled to act independently. Under this act, Supreme Court was established in Calcutta, and in the Supreme Court there will be one Chief Justice and three ordinary judges. Pitt's India Act of 1784. In order to correct or rectify many inconsistencies or limitations in the Regulating Act, and also to clearly demarcate or outline the powers of East India Company and British government, Pitt's India Act was implemented. The government of England wanted to restrict the powers of East India Company. There was also establishment of Board of Controllers, which replaced Board of Directors, and this Board of Controllers consists of 6 commissioners, and the Board of Controller had the power to direct and control the issues related to land taxes, military and civil areas. This act also declared that the Indians have attained their paramount power in the name of British Empire only, but not on their own, and curtailed the political rights of Indians conclusively. It also declared that areas under the possession of East India Company were the integral part of British Empire. Hence, the government of England was the ultimate ruler of India. Charter Acts. The main objective of the Charter Act was to extend the license of the East India Company in India once in 20 years. Charter Act of 1813. This act gave license for the East India Company to rule in India for another 20 years. And also this act allowed individuals and also authorized the interested persons to carry out trade in India. With this, free trade era started in India. And the Board of Directors was given more powers, and Board of Directors was vested with powers to appoint the Governor General and the Commander-in-Chief. And officially, the churches were allowed to enter India, and Christian missionaries were allowed, and also they were asked to enrich the knowledge of Indians and also enhance the moral and spiritual life of Indians. After this act, many Christian missionaries started arriving in India, and after this act, expansion of Christianity and English education started taking place. The Charter Act of 1833. This act gave license or permission for East India Company to rule India for another 20 years. The Governor General of Bengal was renamed as Governor General of India. Now Governor General of India got more powers. The powers to direct, control and supervise all trades in India. The central government of Bengal had the final right to decide on issues such as war, peace, and diplomatic relationship with the princely states of India or Indian kingdoms. Next is the executive committee was appointed to assist the Governor General of India. If the Governor General of India had difference of opinion, or if the Governor General of India had disagreement with the executive committee members, then he was mandated to put his difference of opinion in writing. The act also stopped any discrimination based on religion, birth, and skin color. The Governor General of India was also mandated to appoint a law professional as a member to his executive committee, and all British companies were allowed to have trade relationship in India. The Sepoy Mutiny, or the First War of Indian Independence, took place due to maladministration of East India Company and the Anti-Indian Acts in 1857. Because of Sepoy Mutiny, the administration of India was handed over to the British Queen from the East India Company. It means East India Company's rule was ended and the British government directly took over the administration of India. Means the British government ruled India directly. The Queen of England, Victoria, announced that all-round development of India would be ensured by the British government on November 1st, 1858. Some of the important features of Indian Government Act of 1858 are: the license of the East India Company was cancelled and India was brought under the direct administration of the Queen. The Governor General of India was renamed as or changed to Viceroy. Lord Canning became the first Viceroy of India. A new post called Secretary of State for India was created in the British government. The Secretary was part of British Cabinet and was responsible for the administration of India. A Council of India was created in order to assist the Secretary in the administration. And the Council had 15 members. Indian Council Act of 1861. In order to understand the aspirations of Indians, for the first time, representation was given to Indians in the council. Means Indians were, for the first time, Indians were allowed to participate in the process of creating laws. Hence, this act is called as policy of assertion. Some of the important features are: Indians were nominated to the Viceroy Council as non-official members. Viceroy was authorized to proclaim ordinances in case of emergency. It means during emergency, Viceroy can make laws or create laws without the requirement of council. The Indian Council Act of 1892. This act further extended the participation of Indians in the legislative councils because of the demand and pressure created by the Congress organizations on British government. Hence, the British government increased or gave more opportunity for Indians to participate in the governance. Some of the important features of this act are: the number of additional members in the regional and central legislative bodies was increased. The legislative council's authority was increased further by allowing discussion on the budget related issues. Provision was made to question the government on public issues by serving 6 days notice in advance. Indian Council Act of 1909. This act is called as Minto-Morley Reforms Act because during the formation of this act, Lord Minto was a Viceroy of India and the Lord Morley was a Secretary of State for India. Some of the important features of this act are: the total number of central legislature members were increased to 60 from 16. The number of council members were also increased in the provinces. For the first time, elections were conducted in order to appoint the members for the legislature, and to create division in the Indian society. A separate electorate colleague was given to Muslim community. Hence, through this act, British wanted to divide and rule India. The Government of India Act of 1919. Since Indians participated in the First World War, Lord Montego, who was Secretary of State for India, argued in favor of providing more representations to Indians in the matter of administration, and also he was in favor of allowing people's participation in the formation of government gradually. Hence, Lord Chelmsford, who was a Viceroy of India, declared various reformative measures to the British Parliament. Hence, the Indian Council Act of 1919 was formulated finally by accepting the Viceroy's report. Hence, this act is called as Montego-Chelmsford Reforms Act. Some of the important features of Government of India Act of 1919 are: Act created bicameral legislative body. It means two houses were created in the Legislative Council, which is lower house and upper house. Diarchy was introduced at the provincial governments, means diarchy was introduced at the provinces. In the context of British India, diarchy refers to the system of dual government, where provincial budgets were divided into reserved and transferred. Here, reserved subjects are controlled by the British governor and his executive council, and transferred subjects are controlled or administered by the Indian ministries. Next, a post of High Commissioner was appointed for India and promised to improve the local self-government, and the provincial budget was separated from the central budget. And last is a separate electoral colleague was extended for Muslim community, Sikh community, Anglo-Indians and Europeans. Government of India Act of 1935. The report submitted in 1928 under the leadership of Motilal Nehru was very instrumental or very helpful in the formation of this act. This act acted as a base for the formation of Indian Constitution in the future, because most of the provisions in the Indian Constitution are based on this act. And this act also allowed the formation of fully responsible government by Indians. It means Indians were allowed to form government through elections. This act was also applicable to both the Indian principalities or the princely states and also to British Indian regions. Some of the important features of this act are: a federal system of Indian principalities, British governed regions and dominion status was formed. Reserve Bank of India were established. Diarchy was established at the center. Diarchy, which was introduced at the provincial level as per 1919 Government of India Act, was abolished now under this act, and provincial autonomy was granted and the federal court was established. Thank you.